Excalibur issue 12 heads to the Eternal Caldera on Krakoa, where Apocalypse meets with the High Lords of Krakoa, wondering why they are there. They aren't amused that he is playing games, since he knows he summoned them, so Apocalypse gets to the point, knowing as the High Lords they have immense power, but two things unite them all. The first being that they can summon each other anywhere at any time, and nothing can keep them apart. He asks them what the other is, as Chandra thinks he's speaking riddles. Selene knows it's eternal life that binds them, but Nicodemus wants him to get to the point, since Apocalypse says that these two things were once powers of all of the High Lords, and now they are all powers of all mutant kind, since they have evolved. He knows most of them were thrilled with the promise of amnesty when he came for them and offered them a place on Krakoa, and while excused from their crimes, they were offered something else, community amongst their own people, joined as one. Apocalypse shares that humans almost knew this, but replaced humanity with mechanization and individualism, but now mutants will succeed where humans failed. Nicodemus isn't thrilled about being told that they are now obsolete, daring any young mutant to challenge them, but Apocalypse says that they aren't obsolete and were the first mutant coven. Chandra takes offense to that, having literally been part of covens and almost burned at the stake for it. She asks what the purpose of this talk is, thinking Apocalypse is going to hurl himself into a volcano after this, but Apocalypse says that they aren't obsolete, they are useful, and they have a community to feed, and the High Lords are the fuel. He did hope that if he explained, they would, in their infinite wisdom, not fight back. Below the meeting, Richter calls out to Apocalypse, pleading for him not to do this as he is dragged into a void, bursting from the ground, as Apocalypse says that this mutant is not a High Lord, and at one point he was even powerless when he found him, but now he has learned of the mutant community, divorcing himself from the human world. Because of this, the mutant excels amongst his people, and he can be a High Lord, just like how all mutants are. Apocalypse gives them a choice: give their bones to empowering the gateway to Arakko and let their kind expand and evolve, or die denying the inevitable. Richter demands to know what Apocalypse did to him, wondering if this was a stress test of his powers, demanding to know if he's just some experiment for the High Lord. Apocalypse says that he is the future and the High Lords are the past, and for the good of mutant kind, they need to die to serve him. Nicodemus attacks Apocalypse, calling him a fool that has damned them and in doing so, damned himself. Apocalypse calls Richter, Selene and Gideon to his side, but Richter refuses to bow to Apocalypse's orders, demanding he answer him, saying he wanted this to happen to Rogue, and he knows it might have been done to Betsy. He tells the mutant that he can't just hold them down and threaten to kill them to unlock some inner strength. Richter angrily tells him that he can't scare them with death anymore, but Apocalypse says that this is what he wanted the boy to understand, as he, Selene and Gideon are attacked by Absalom, who is surprised Selene is standing with Apocalypse and not the High Lords. Selene reminds the man that the young feed her, not the old, as Richter asks if she can drain him and turn him to stone, shocking Selene since Apocalypse has seemingly told the boy many of her secrets. Selene agrees to help if the boy does the ritual with them, as Saul transforms into a giant dinosaur, as Nicodemus says that within each of them is the power of the ages. He threatens to exile Richter without even lifting a finger, wanting to make ashes of the Quiet Council and rule mutant kind from the shadows like they always have. Richter knows they don't understand that the rules have changed since he and the High Lords are equals now. He unleashes his full power onto the Lords, swallowing them up in his lava as he proclaims Krakoa belongs to the mutants. In the aftermath, Chandra, Saul and the others are killed by Richter's immense power, leaving only Selene and Gideon alive. Richter says he wasn't trying to kill them, but he could feel their energy when the lava went through them. Absalom is still alive, but barely, told by Apocalypse that he has shamed himself and now he's fragile. Apocalypse doesn't step on the mutant, instead saying that he has a need for him, so he tells the mutant to get on his feet since the ritual begins. Apocalypse says that this has always happened and there has always been 4 left as the bodies of the dead lords crystallize. Apocalypse however finds that one is missing, wondering how it's possible as he drags Chandra's corpse away, told by Richter that all of their bones feel empty, yet hers feel different, like they were empty for a while. In the other world, Rogue and Gambit sneak through the Starlight Citadel. Remy plays with the stone that Rogue found in the closet, making her wonder if he recognizes it. She asks if Remy does recognize it and if that's why he took it, but he isn't so sure, only wishing that they had stayed home. Rogue tells him that they need to find Betsy and leave, as the ghostly form of Chandra tells Remy that he's lying to his wife. She finds that quite exciting. Remy reminds the woman that she is there because he doesn't trust her and would rather have her in his hands than anyone else's. The woman knows that Remy knew that she was in the stone, wondering if Gambit is rescuing her from the castle. Gambit wants to know why she was in the castle to begin with, since it's quite lucky that she would appear there. Chandra says that Apocalypse has been rather inviting and just about anyone can take a look around King Jaime's throne room. She wonders why Gambit didn't tell Rogue about her heart gem, but Remy reminds the host that the last time he saw her, she chained Rogue up. Remy reminds her that as a thief, he'll be fencing off the stone he took to whoever is buying, so she best start talking now in case she wants to be a mouthy paperweight. Chandra says that she's trying to avoid that as she reveals what Apocalypse learned he could do with the bones of ancient mutants, so she knew her days were numbered. Remy knows that Apocalypse sent them there to make a gate and he will be there any second, but Chandra knows that Lady Opal hates him, so she is safe for the moment within the castle walls. She pleads with Gambit to protect her as Rogue tells him to hurry up since they have company, as the couple are found by priestesses, causing them to make a quick escape. Betsy meanwhile introduces herself to Lady Opal, telling the woman that Jubilee's son is gravely wounded and that Richter just took an underpowered gate from the other world and the lady sent Remy and Rogue away. She asks what the woman has to say for herself about all of this, but Opal says that Betsy told her she's the only Captain Britain she's got. However, that is very untrue. Opening an elevator and getting in, as she tells Betsy when the Captain Britain Corps were destroyed, she lost much, forcing her to open her tower like a school to find those who would learn what she has to offer and to protect and defend the castle. And once upon a time, Brian Braddock was her sworn sword, and he was so good at his job in just about every reality. Heading down the elevator, Opal explains that since Braddock died, the other world has been in chaos, but in the midst of all this, Betsy came in. Betsy sees all of the other Captain Britons in stasis crystals, learning that they are abominations from rogue realities, since one can't just pick up the medallion and swear to serve by it. Betsy knows the woman doesn't know what she's talking about, and she's done Captain Britain's work before, threatening to show that she can do what Brian can do and what he can't do since he was human, while she's mutant. Opal is well aware of that, and so is all of England, wondering what happens when their hate for mutants overwhelms her sense of duty, and it always will win out. Suddenly a bell tolls, signaling intruders, as Apocalypse finds Chandra tricked them, as Selene reminds him that he always expects sacrifices of others and never himself. Apocalypse knows that Selene doesn't understand what he stands to lose as he activates the crystals, knowing Chandra's spirit is elsewhere, locked away in one of the trinkets she owned, which they will need for the power inside. Richter tells Apocalypse that he can't sacrifice himself to empower the gate since he won't be reborn. Rogue and Gambit meanwhile meet with Betsy and Lady Opal, who tell them to drop the gem. Chandra tells Gambit to listen to her since either he helps her here or he helps Apocalypse. Opal demands that her priestesses destroy the red gate as Betsy reaches out and connects with Richter and Apocalypse, who can feel Chandra's soul nearby. The witch pleads with Gambit to give Opal the gem, as Betsy tells him the gem needs to go through the gate. Remy knows that this is for Apocalypse, not wanting to do any more for the being and wanting him to sulk, but he knows that he can settle things with him later, and right now he's going to settle things with Chandra as he throws the Opal through the gateway, wanting to deal with Chandra for good as Opal's citadel begins to crumble. Apocalypse knows that one of the Coven has done his part as the external gateway is completed. The being knows that it's not finished, however, and merely a permanent gateway to the Starlight Citadel and the Otherworld, which is now wide open for them to travel to. Excalibur issue 12 was a great prelude to X of Swords that dealt with how Apocalypse created a gateway to Arakko and the Otherworld, basically opening the door for the event to take place. I enjoyed seeing Apocalypse acting as type of a wizard or a magician, conducting rituals and spells to open doorways to mystical lands, as well as his confrontation with the High Lords, proving why they are, while not obsolete, not special anymore, since any everyday mutant can now be as powerful as them thanks to uniting them all under one community on Krakoa. It's great seeing writers like Teenie Howard weave things Hickman is creating and building within his own X-Men books and expanding on them in cool and interesting ways, and I'm looking forward to this rather intriguing and different X-Men event. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.